Hello. Hi. I'm Jermaine, your host of the Main No Doubt Show. Well, I'm glad you're here with me today, and I just want to welcome you. I had a busy couple weeks, and I'm just trying to make sure that I stay focused on the things at hand. Now, today, I'm going to relate this subject to I don't know. I had a show called I don't know. I mean, a lot of times I don't know a lot of stuff. So now, uh, for the most, a lot of people are here. They really want to take life serious. Some people take life too serious, and I want to address that. And I want to talk about friends. Sometimes you have friends, and uh, these friends, may not want know what they want. So, anyway, let's basically start with the day. How you start out your day. Most people start out their day not really collectively, putting things together. I mean, sometimes some people are systematic and routine. Good grief, with a set pattern in a way that it could be kind of rigorous. I mean, it's good. I mean, you achieve an ultimate goal, but then some people like to sit down and they like to relax their brain and collectively put things together. You know, I mean, either way, right? To actually start off the day before it gets too deep, you basically being able to add a little humor to that. I don't know what your you know idea or ideas are as far as humor, but trying to start off with a smile to the day is great. So if you got a good sense of humor, it'll push you through most of your day. So therefore, it subtracts a lot of negativity. Sometimes you start off and then you could be pulled into a negative phase, but hopefully you learn how to bounce back from that. Now, I mean, regardless of what I do, I'm always doing something. I'm always moving my hands. Also, just so you guys know, right? It helps me bring forth more vibrance to my character, because most people, you know, don't know how to loosen up, and I use my hands to loosen myself up. So, in order for me to, be free flowing and to be able to operate, I use my hands frequently. Even if I'm driving down the road and I'm having a conversation with people, I'm always using my hands because they are kind of like an extension of my personality. So, um, I like to um, I like to start out my day joking around. I'm always talking about something in which it will actually captivate a lot of people. So to be able to captivate people naturally without hindrances is just which is pretty cool. You know, I I find that when I'm addressing situations and I'm around a lot of people have a tendency to switch up the way they act around different people. I try to maintain the same flow regardless of where I am, and I've been in a lot of places. So I try to maintain that same flow about me. I mean, some people may not like certain things that you do, and that's understandable. But you got to understand that some people are a little bit more uptight than other people, and that's just their way of being. I mean, I don't say that people are bad for being that way. It's just they don't know how to loosen up on the wavelength that you are. So maintaining some type of fluidity about yourself is always a great thing. A lot of people think that they have to change just because they're around other groups of people. I might try to change my vocabulary, because trust me, I mean, some people out here, they wish to flow within, one aspect of living, and it might be captivating to a lot. But me, I flow within. different aspects of different people, different characteristics, different classes of people all the time. So uh, it's kind of cool. And sometimes I just like my solitude. So, having a humor, I try to start the day with laughter, and I try to end it with laughter. Now, I have groups of people that I'm always talking to that, keep me on a certain level, certain plane, in which, even if I was at my lowest, right? I can call somebody up right now and be like, hey, this is what I was thinking about. I'm like, hey, you never know what time of day that you need these people, and it's like a select few people I can get on the phone. I have no clue of what I'm going to talk about whatsoever, and then there, blam, I end up talking about stuff, and then they'll be like, oh man, you know, uh, you need to stop because you're off the wall. Kind of like Michael Jackson, off the wall. Anyway, but this is the thing, and I have like, you know, continuous conversation about everything because why? I've basically filled my brain with a whole bunch of different things in which, it actually keep me in the loop of being able to have a conversation with just about anybody about anything on any given day. Now, um, the lack of topics. I mean, some people like to stick to the same general topics, in which those topics can become, I guess they could be dull and boring to some other people who have no idea of what you're talking about. I mean, but then if you keep up with the normal everyday conversation, in which that's what you're gonna get, as far as like just to say soap opera for just to say, and you watch the soap opera every day, and you got a group of people that you sit down and watch soap opera with. Okay, that's just what you know. And then you got other people that sit around and talk about other people all day, every day, in which that's just what you know. So, I mean, regardless of how you look at it, you actually, going through a format of life, and you're like, hey, this is what I know. But then yet and still, are you expanding, your brain cells? So are you expanding your imagination? And in which, I find myself, expanding my imagination quite frequently. I mean, I sit back, like I've said before, I watch a lot of YouTube videos, and all those YouTube videos I talk about aliens, I talk about the probability of there being giants, long time ago, in which, it even states in different books and Bibles and everything that there were giants a long time ago. But yet and still, you wouldn't know that if you don't actually open up a book and try to find out what the probabilities are or were. Some people just think that just cause they're atheists or whatever. I mean, I welcome everybody to whatever group or class that you're in, but just by opening up one of these books that you say you don't believe in does not mean that you can't learn something from it. So I always learn something from every book that I open up. See, because if by chance I can't gain something and expand my imagination. I mean, when you read a book, it's not like you have pictures in that book. So when you open up that book, you say, okay, all right, whatever I read from this moment, I got to make sure that I comprehend it. And if I'm going to comprehend this, I got to draw a picture in my head. So drawing pictures in your head about what's going on in that book, regardless of what book it is, right? Once you draw that picture, it expands your imagination. So your imagination can go, wow. I mean, that's just like going out to see the Aladdin movie or reading Aladdin in a book, and you were just imagining yourself flying in on a magic carpet. Now, if I had a magic carpet right now, right, I'd be flying all over everywhere, and you probably wouldn't see me in the studio right now because why? I'm having fun on my magic carpet. Now, if I was Aladdin and a genie in a lamp, right? This I will be popping in and out the lamp because why? Or maybe, I have my own personal genie. I mean, sometimes it's okay to play with your imagination. Being an adult does not mean that you have to be stuck on being uptight all the time. Because me personally, I like to, dig into my imagination. I mean, just to say, I mean, if there are aliens or anything like that in this world, I mean, I know they've been talking about it forever, but hey, you know, maybe they can teach me how to drive the UFO spaceship. You know, I don't know. I mean, it's exciting to me. I have no clue. But some people think that, oh yeah, they're gonna wage war against the aliens, and because people watch Men in Blacks and Independence Day and all this other stuff. Yeah, it sounds great. But how do I know they won't come down here and teach me how to fly the spaceship? They might be a lot better at teaching me, and I might be able to retain the information a lot quicker. You never know. That's what I'm saying. Use your imagination, and it could pull up a whole bunch of different things. Now, people look at me and say, "Oh, why would you talk about something like that right now?" And everybody I guarantee you, there's so many people out here that get offended by everything. You, everything nowadays, you got to be politically correct, or somebody's gonna condemn you for it. So, really, this is a moment of me understanding one thing, that you have to be who you're going to be. And it's okay to be a little bit different, but don't be different in a negative way, because negativity only bring forth more negativity. So if you bring it forth to actually expand and be a lot better, and if you're not going to be a better person, then you might as well just exclude yourself from the probability. But to condemn people, right, is, I mean, if you're going to condemn somebody, condemn yourself first, because most people bypass themselves, to, criticize or judge other people. But if you don't start with yourself, you need to know who you are inside and out. And regardless to what, other people, when they look at you, they say, okay, I know who that person is. No, they don't. Not unless you know who you are. Because people could think they know you. I mean, they can know characteristics of you. They can know patterns of you. But, really, they don't know who you are. Now, dig deep. Dig deep as you can to expand your imagination. Because when you were a kid, you had all these little dreams. Oh, I wish, right? It's okay to expand on that I wish theory. Yes, some of that stuff might not come true. I mean, you may not get everything that you want, but keep wishing, because sometimes, wishing can actually expand your, imagination. So, me personally, right? Maybe I would like to think that there's a black hole in the earth. I mean, actually, I was watching a YouTube video, and the YouTube video was actually saying, oh, okay, well, the earth was flat. Now, we've been taught that the earth was round, and all kind of stuff. I'm not an astronaut, so I have no clue. So this theory is like just about as wild as I could possibly imagine. I'm not an astronaut. I mean, I'm not a lot of stuff, and I'm quite sure I will never be a lot of stuff. But I've dug into a lot of different things, and I know quite a bit. But just to play with the concept that the Earth is flat, maybe it's part of a hemisphere. Hemisphere meaning half. Okay, so maybe it's round on the bottom and it's flat across the top. Who knows? There's just something to think about. I mean, you play with the idea. I was talking to somebody. I was like, "Look, I'm gonna just roll with the theory that the Earth is flat." I was like, "What happens if the Earth is flat?" I was like, "The Earth is flat because why? Maybe flying in an airplane, you can find your point from point A to B very simply, and then maybe it is flat." I'm like, "Cause if it was round, I was like, don't you think at a certain point, a certain altitude, if you miss that curvature in the Earth, that maybe you might fly out of the Earth's atmosphere and just start floating away." According to all the science fiction movies, this could be a probability, but we haven't found the point where the airplane actually left the Earth's atmosphere. I'm not a pilot either, so I wouldn't be able to answer these questions. But overall, it's a good point. Now, whether or not that point is going to be good or bad or whatever, I don't know. You want to give me some answers? Fine. You contact me at Enjoy Your Life 4313 at gmail.com. I would like to hear from you because somewhere in here, right? If I think about the Earth being flat on the top and it's half a hemisphere, and then we just decide to have water on top of this flat part of the hemisphere, and maybe we encapsulate it with a dome. I mean, I've heard so many different theories, right? And it's kind of weird that we have all of these theories still out there, right? And surprisingly, the stuff is there now. How does that work? I have no clue, and I'm not a scientist either, so I won't be able to explain all of that stuff. So I'm not trying to be too scientific or too technical about it either, but it just gives you an idea how to expand your imagination and how things work. Now, so somebody say, hey, if the Earth was flat, and so we went through the theory to maybe getting to our points from A to B or whatever, C to D or whatever. I was like, but if it was truly flat, don't you think somebody would have fell off by now? I say, okay, so, well, there's probably a whole bunch of people fell off. Never know. But I was like, just think about it. The point where the Bermuda Triangle. Now, they say that there's forces up under there in which the water, I watch documentaries in which the waters float in a triangular pattern in which it actually sends off all the, dials and radio signals in all kind of wacky directions. Made a lot of sense watching that documentary. But then at the same point, right, we had the point of when I was talking to somebody else, like, hey, what if the Bermuda Triangle was actually the edge of the Earth in which all the planes and everything just fell off? So I was like, hey, maybe that's the edge of the Earth. I was like, so therefore that would give the flat Earth theory, some validity that they fell off at the Bermuda Triangle. Now, how many other places have, planes and, boats and everything mysteriously disappeared? I don't know. But that's something else that you can, if you want to give me an answer to it, give me an answer to it. I mean, I know about things. I heard about meditation, monks, and all this other type of stuff in which, meditation can bring forth clarity in mind and actually expand your knowledge base into where you can have a lot of things and mysteries of the universe and all kind of other stuff revealed to you just by meditation. Now, there are all kind of other things that I learned from meditation, in which talks about immortal breath and being able to transcend the fleshly body itself. I mean, I know that there are people out here that does transcendental meditation, in which, you have some answers. You get to watch this show, you have some answers for me, call me. I mean, not call me, but contact me at the enjoyyourlife4313 at gmail.com. I would really like to hear some things about that. We're drawn to, the fall season, so it's like, we need to expand some things about trying to get some more activities and kids in the activities around here. So, we're in the Saco, Biddeford, Maine area. If you have ideas, send me an email. enjoyyourlife4313 at gmail.com. Now, what I want to do is talk about a thing about friends. A lot of people have a problem picking friends. Sometimes people, think that they're picking the best friends, but sometimes you don't. I mean, sometimes it's all a guessing game. Sometimes, when you have friends out here, you you think that they're the best for you, but sometimes your friends don't have your whatever, anything about you, your thoughts, your well-being, anything is not of their concern. So they basically, want to hold you back from doing whatever you do. Now, being selective as far as picking friends is a good thing. But sometimes, you know, when you're picking friends, you know, they have expectations of you in which, you know, they really don't put forth, you know, your interests to heart. You know, so basically what they do is they, you know, expect you to do something, but then yet and still they were not willing to, you know, put 150% into the friendship as much as you. So, yeah, I mean, you should just take a little bit of time, and you know, even though, you know, they may be your friend, they won't push that extra percentage to actually give you the opportunity to be all of the friend that you could possibly be to them, as well as them being all of the friend that they could possibly be to you. So you should take a little bit of a moment to, you know, focus on that, you know, because, you know, sometimes friends, you know, they may get confused. I mean, they really don't, you know, understand you. But if your friend is your friend, they want to do anything, and they'll stretch a little bit further to really understand the concepts, things that you have going on in your head. You might have, I mean, the communication process is really good between good friends. If the communication breaks a cycle, if there's a missing link in the friendship, you know, there's a probability that that friendship could be broken also, all because of the simple fact that one person decided not to, you know, give 150% of that conversational communication to the other friends. Because if you got a friend that understands you completely, they will definitely put 150% in. So if you got 150% and 150%, that's 300%. You cannot go wrong when you have a friendship that's that deep. It's got to be that deep. So 150% and 150%, it gives you 300%, right? So, you know, we want to select our friends carefully, because sometimes you'll find that at the end that when one friend expects something, right, and they don't get exactly what they want, then they're willing to bail out on you because they wasn't given 150% in the beginning. Now, if they were given 150%, they would understand, you know, different aspects and your lows and your highs, or what probabilities that, you know, may be holding you back. You know, so somewhere in there, right, you get a partial friend, and then you know, so you find your friend disappearing on you because they wasn't 150%, and even if they gave you 100%, even if they cut that down to you know, in half, they'll still give you 50%. But when you find that you're giving, you know, 75 to 25, I mean, that probability is still not good. And then when you're doing 75 to 75, that's 50% out of 150%, which is okay. I mean, at least they're giving you half of what they got. They might not be able to give them 100% or 150% of themselves, because they still have 75% of stuff that they have to, you know, maintain on their own basis. But you can't get aggravated at the friend just because the friend is actually, you know, working at half from 150%. So, I mean, you know, the variables and things in between, because those variables, you know, will actually help you understand where you may falter. See, because some people out here, they actually say, okay, all right, well, you know, I'm only going to do just enough to get by. Well, that's okay. But you may not understand, and if you don't keep that open line of communication, and you just figure you got it all wrapped up in your head, because this is the things that and the concepts in which you perceive your thoughts, but then you're not perceiving the thoughts of other people. So you basically cut the line of communication, and then you and your friend are no longer good friends. So you should just, you know, weigh that all out. Like I say, love your friends if they love you, But then as you get older, you find out that you have very few friends that's really loyal friends. Now, a loyal friend will never, turn their back on you, and they will never shut you out, and they will never, close you out to really important things. Unfortunately, that's the way life goes. But for me, right, what I have learned in this life is to never let these types of situations get you down. You actually roll off of them, right? You roll off of it and you maintain. You keep going and doing the things that you do, because as long as you know who you are, and as that digs deep, you know who you are, then nothing. It's nothing that you couldn't possibly do. It's nothing that you couldn't possibly achieve, because of the simple fact that you have the power within yourself to actually supersede or succeed on any level if you believe you can do it. And then whether or not your friend is going to be there or not, that's a whole different story. But at least if you believe in yourself, right, you could never fail yourself unless you actually, fool yourself to believe that you were capable of doing something that you knew you couldn't do in the beginning. But beside that, if you know that you had the capabilities of doing something, you can never fail yourself. And as long as you never lie to yourself, then you should definitely be, at the top of the chart. So, what I'm saying from it all, right? Keep your humor. Know who you are. Know who your friends are. Know who your true friends are. Know whether or not they'll turn their back on you, whether good or bad. Because at your lowest point, and when some people hit their lowest point, and then people have their low points, right? And they choose to stick and keep the lowest points. But then once you learn how, it's people on all kind of levels think that they don't have low points. Everybody have low points, and they hide it very well. They disguise a lot of things. It's like a hidden veil. That's there, and it or like a mirage. It appears to be beautiful, but then it's really not there. So it's a lot of things and a lot of people out here that try to make it seem like their life is glorious. It's okay to pretend a little bit to boost your own self morale, but don't use it too much and where you're pretending and to the point that you're actually miserable, but you're still pretending. See, that's what a lot of people do. And instead of really trying to understand the things or the calculations that help them, get to the next level, people have a tendency to stay stuck. If you stay stuck for a little while to actually, put some other pieces of the puzzle together to make the puzzle become a more vivid picture, then it'll work out for you. So beside that, what you want to do is just flow through life like water. Water is fluidous. It's kind of hard to stop it, regardless if it go through rock or concrete, or even if you try to run it through a pipe. If you don't put the pipes together properly, right, you're still gonna have a leak. Why? Because it's hard to stop the flow of water unless you do things correctly. So flow like water. Water is a force to be reckoned with. Because think about it. Even back during the time of the Titanic, water is powerful. They thought the vessel was a lot more powerful than the water, but the water, won. So, the same thing as fire. If you play with fire, you get burnt. Let's throw all of these concepts in there. You mess around with the wind. The wind's powerful. It blow down trees. Trees, fall on a house and it could destroy your house. But then, this is the elements of life. You say earth, we got the earth. The earth, it crumbles apart in different areas and different times. And then you have the earthquakes and all this stuff. So earth, air, fire, and water, right? Like I say, my knowledge base. It goes into a lot of different aspects. I mean, I've read books on uh, witchcraft and uh, the art of breathing called pranayama from um, Buddhist sacred word. I mean, I've read books about Kundalini yoga um, and the healing arts of the hands, where you can transfer energy from your hands to help heal people. I've read books about um, um, Reiki and Indian spirituality. I mean, the books goes on and on and on. I mean, uh, philosophy books, religious books, Quran, you name it. I mean, Buddhism, Taoism. I've done it because if there's something out here, right, I want to know. I want to know because of the simple fact that some people just caught up on the things that they do every day, and to the point where they can't have fun. And I have fun with all of it. I mean, regardless of whether or not it's useful to me or not, it's useful enough for me to have a conversation outside of the normal realm or existence of conversations, in which, sometimes could get boring, especially if you talking about soap operas. I like soap operas. I used to like them when I was younger because it allowed me to imagine, this life of living from somebody else's perspective. But then I realized when I got older, I wanted to understand how to live life from my own perspective instead of, in some type of an illusion. Because, living in a world and having only a select group of friends and saying, oh, my friends are only rich. I'm sorry, but I like real people. I like people on every level. And if you're rich, you have money, or you have money, and I've been around you or whatever, thank you for me meeting you. I really do, and I enjoy having a conversation with you. It's nice, if I've been out, hanging around in the streets and hanging around homeless. Trust me, I don't mind. 'Cause sometimes I think the homeless people have more fun than the people that have houses and the people that's rich, because rich have to stay secluded in certain areas, especially if people get to know you. you know. And then people in this homeless, they like out there having fun. They create their own TV, because they sit there and converse with each other and have fun and joking and laughing and all this stuff. It's great. And you know what? I find people in between time. They sit at their house, and some people are secluded to their home. They have a place to stay. Sometimes having a place to stay has its responsibilities, and then you actually have to adhere to the things of that house, in which it actually keep you captive. It actually keep you in bondage, because there are things that you have to stay stuck to, and if something goes wrong with the house, then you have to fix it. So, who's having the most fun? We don't know. It all depends on how you choose to, actually, work your situation. So you don't necessarily have, one person don't have more fun than the other. It all depends on you, because you can make either environment work for you, depending on how you want to how you want to work it. Because I can have fun on every level. And I mean, it's awesome. I really can't say that, because I've met people, it's like really fortunate, and I've met people that's really unfortunate. I've met people that's fortunate enough to have comfortability. But either way, right? How you have fun is how you choose to use your brain. So, as for everything, I really enjoy you being here for me today. And like I say, you have anything you want to elaborate on, anything I talk about in any one of these videos that you see of me at the studio, right? Contact me. Enjoy your life 4313 at gmail.com. I would love to hear from you, because why? Right? Life is exciting. It's exciting as you make it. Because if you don't make it exciting, right, you end up in the same cycle of everything else that everybody else is doing. And trust me, being like everybody else, it may seem like it's fun, but being like yourself is a lot more fun, because you get to be the creator of it all. And then other people actually follow behind you. And if you don't mind being a leader for some point in time, just pick something that you're really good at, you know, and you'll find out that there's somebody else that like what you like. Now, as for anything else, right, I enjoyed you being here with me today, and I hope that you find the humor in your day and in your night. Because if you can open with humor and you can close with humor, trust me, it's all worthwhile. Enjoy your life. 4313@gmail.com. I'm Jermaine, your host. Have fun. Enjoy your life.